Hello, hello, hello. This is Nubia of NubianQueen Nation podcast. And as you all know, the way that I start off every single time is that I have a special guest because all my guests are special. So I have a young lady here, I'm calling you young lady, who reached out to me over the internet, and she has a wonderful story that we need to hear. So from reading your bio, I know that your name is Miss Sandra.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and you're a twin. What's funny is that when you first reached out, we kind of everybody does a social media thing. You kind of flip through the media thing. I'm like, she has somebody who looks just like her. My goodness. So from
Yeah,
reading your bio, you have a twin. Is
I
that correct?
do. She's actually my best friend. So yeah,
Awesome. Awesome,
it
awesome.
wasn't
So
always that way, but as time and growth, it
yes.
you know became
Yeah.
that way. So
Nice, nice. So just tell me a little bit about you because you are here to tell us about you have a beautiful book, but it's not just a book, it's like a coloring book with different activities in it. And this was drawn from experience that you had. So it made you want
yeah,
to write this book. So if you can just tell us your name and tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll get into your book.
sure. My name is Sandra Wolf. My married name is Sandra W. Calloway, but I've never changed my last name to Calloway. I kept it Wolf.
Mhm.
Um, I'm actually 49 years old. I'll be 50 in June. I do have a twin.
Mhm.
I have a little sister as well. We're 10 years apart. So she's 10 years younger than me. Was born and raised in Germany, came to the States when I was 7.
I saw that. Mhm.
Was with my husband for 13 years before we got married and lost him not even 4 months after we got married. So
Oh,
very,
sorry, that's a very sad, but thank you
thank
for
you.
being here and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
So you said that you were married, like, so you knew your husband for a while, and then you got
Yes.
married, and you were only married for what, 4 months or so, or and then he passed
Less
away.
than 4 months.
Less than
He
4.
actually went to South Carolina to see his mom, which he was very close to his family there in South Carolina. And he called me that morning and was like, actually, he texted me that morning. He was like, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. He's like, I love you. And I
Oh,
was like, I do. So I checked up on him, I want to say about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
mhm.
And um, he was fine because he didn't feel well that morning. I said, how are you feeling? He said, I'm good. I said, okay, left it alone. Next thing I know, not even 30 minutes, I get a call from one of his family members telling me that something happened to him, to find out that he actually got stung by 30 yellow jacks.
Oh my
And
goodness gracious.
yes, so life is very short. So it made me really appreciate life after he passed. He passed in 2019.
Mhm.
So, and we got married March 29th of 2019. He passed and we had his funeral. I want to say August 6th, I think was the exact date.
Wow.
And
So
he was gone.
and excuse me for asking, but like, was it immediate? Like he had an allergic reaction? I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. 30.
It's not, see, a lot of people think that it would have been an allergic reaction. It wouldn't have been because yellow jacks actually have venom in it and
Mm,
they actually can like stop your airways from breathing.
mm,
So unfortunately, he couldn't breathe, so he suffocated
mm,
and he was gone.
mm.
So
Oh, God bless you. God bless you. So from this situation, so that's been like, so you, it's been 2 years
it's
now,
been 2
right?
years,
Oh,
a little over 2 years.
wow. My goodness gracious. And so from that, you said, from when you and I were talking that you were trying to find support groups and things like that. Is that correct?
I was like, even like going through it, it was like I kept trying to find like support groups, and it was like I don't feel that anything there was really for Black women. I felt like the support groups that were out there that I ran into from my experience was more for other races or for women that was a lot older that didn't want to move on. Even in some of the support groups, certain things are taboo. You don't talk about it,
Mhm.
as far as moving on and stuff like that. And not that I was ready to move on at that point, but it was like, okay, I'm still young. So eventually that's something I might want to do. I'm tapping my toe into it right now, but I just didn't see a lot of us. I didn't see a lot of representation of beautiful Black queens.
Now you actually, I mean, because you said that you've actually traveled. You're from Germany originally. You were born there, but you've lived even in New England where I am. You've lived in a lot of different states, and I'm just kind of breaking this down because, of course, I'm sure that you got support from the group, but sometimes you just want to be in a room with people who are of color and you don't have to explain certain things culturally. So that's probably why you're
Exactly.
saying that you wanted to be in a room full of women who are going through basically the same thing you're going through, but that you could identify more with because of our melanin, basically.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So then from there, you were searching and searching. And so how did you come upon this, the idea of writing this beautiful book? Do you have it? Do you have one in front of you that you can
I
hold up?
do actually. This is the book right here.
Beautiful, beautiful. That is just, I love that cover. I love it.
And everything on here is how do you say purposeful?
Yeah, purposeful,
Um,
intentional.
I purposely did not put a black dress on her because at my husband's funeral, I did not wear a black dress. I wore a really deep red dress.
Right.
I wanted him to be the angel and I wanted her to look a lot sadder and him looking up at her, but
Mhm.
having more peace because he knew he was going to heaven,
Right, right.
where she's still on earth, still dealing with the grief of losing him. So
Mhm.
everything on here is really with purpose.
Yes.
Even the title, the subtitle itself, there are stages to this shit. Some people didn't like that title, but I wanted to be my authentic self. And that's what I wanted. So that's what is there.
Mhm.
So, because there is stages to it. One day you can be really happy, or the next day you don't want to get out of bed. And it doesn't need to even have a day pass. It can be minutes,
Right,
seconds.
right. I'm sure. Wow. So, gosh, that is so beautiful. So, how do you find somebody to illustrate? Because the way that you're describing it, that person got exactly what you wanted with that beautiful illustration. So, how did you find that person to? How did it all connect?
It all connected because the way that the book actually came about, mine, like we said, 2 years passed.
Mhm.
I was on Amazon and I was actually looking, just how you're scrolling. It actually wasn't Amazon, it was Instagram. I'm sorry. I was actually scrolling and I ended up seeing a Black coloring book.
Okay.
And I really didn't think of anything of it. I was just like, oh, wow, this is beautiful. So then I ended up going to sleep and I woke up, I want to say like at 2 o'clock in the morning, and God was like, you should write that.
Mm.
You should use that.
Mhm.
And I was just like, okay, like I'm not even talking to you right now. Like I'm
Goodness.
upset with you. Like you took my husband. Like
Right.
I'm mad with you. I was really going through my own journey with that. And even with that, people were like, you can't be mad at God. He has a reason, he has a purpose. And I'm like, honey, until you're in my shoes,
Right.
you can't tell me what I can and can't do.
Exactly. Exactly. Mhm.
So, and I mean, I'm a woman of God. I definitely believe in God. And I know that everything he does on his own timing and for a reason. But when you don't understand the reason, it's hard for you to process and for you to go through it.
Right. Yeah.
So
And just if you might, just last night I was in a group of women on talking about friendships, and they were talking about how like somebody else can't tell you how to grieve. They can't tell you when something should be over. They can't. And you know what? Actually, it wasn't. It was the Red Table with Jada Pickett Smith. I think
yep.
that's honestly, if you saw that whatever that recent episode was, she was saying somebody else cannot tell you when to stop grieving or when to stop
They
doing
can't.
something. So I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue. Correct.
No, you're fine. And that's true because the way that I look at it, and you have to look at grief this way, we all have our own fingerprints.
Mhm.
My fingerprints are totally different than yours. So, you know what? If the same situation happened to you, I can't tell you how to grieve, and you can't tell me how to grieve for the simple fact our makeup is different. We
Mhm.
handle things differently. So, the only thing we can do is just support one another and say, okay, this is the stage that you're in, because there are different stages of grief. I mean, the stages are actually in the book. And it amazes me when people talk about grief and they talk about these stages. And when it first happened, I was like, what stage? What are you talking about?
Mhm.
But the stages of grief are actually they're in here, and I ended up putting them in here twice.
Mhm.
But one of the pages is this page right here,
Okay, let's give you
where she's walking down the
your
step.
pros for 1 second. Just, but maybe hold your book up, or I'm not sure. I can't see. The picture's kind of frozen for a minute. Oh, okay, I see now. All right.
Where she's walking down the step,
Okay.
and this is her, like the step that she's on is the stage that she's on.
Okay. Oh,
So
awesome.
the person purchasing this book can definitely color the page, color the step that they're on. The stages are denial, anger, you're bargaining, you're depressed, and you finally accept. But
Mhm.
you can be in more than one stage at one time.
Mhm. Mhm. That is brilliant. I can't wait to also let you know, not only is this a podcast, but we'll eventually put it up and it'll be on YouTube also, so people will be able to see your beautiful cover and see those
Oh,
pages
thank
in between also.
you.
So we just talked about why did you create the book is because it came from basically you mourning and trying to find a way to connect with others and to help other women that were possibly in the same position that you were in, right? Um, so let's see here. So how many pages does your book have? And you said that you
It
have
actually has 104 pages.
104.
So some of the pages on here, like this is Live Your Truth.
Oh.
So no one can tell you exactly how to live your truth. And I purposely put a superhero here because we as women, we are superheroes. It has pages in here, like this one I love. It always seems impossible until you do it.
Mm.
And I love that for the simple fact that we just go through so much. Even if you look back on your life and look back as some of the obstacles that you've overcome, when you having to overcome those obstacles and going through it, you're probably like, oh my God, I can't do this. Have it be a test, have it be a new job, have it be an interview, have it be even going outside in the world dealing with COVID right now.
Oh my
You
goodness.
know, girl, don't get me started. I'm still getting over it. Don't get me started.
I don't even want
So, but it's not impossible. We
right.
can do anything that we set our minds on. And that's one thing about this book. Like this book is very encouraging. It has affirmations in it. It has that you can do anything that you set your mind on. I get that you're a widow, but just know that you are still a queen without your king.
Mm.
You can still do it. And I mean, I don't have children, but for people that do have children, like you see your spouse, I'm sure through your child, there's something that your child probably does that reminds you of your spouse.
Have reminders,
And you know,
right?
exactly. So it's probably even 10 times harder for someone that has a child than someone that doesn't. And I'm speaking for me, I'm not speaking for anyone else. But at the same token, you know that you have to live for yourself and your child. And that's one thing that I really want to express through this book is that your husband would want you to be happy. Your
And to keep
husband
going.
would want you to have peace.
Mhm.
So whatever you need to do to get up every day and do that, then do it.
Thank you. That is so powerful. I know that that was one of the things, the word powerful. Those pages that you showed us were very powerful pages too. Um, very powerful. I think that because you were saying about it's hard to say whether it be harder with children or without children. Either way, it's a situation because I know that sorry to even mention this, my husband was military, and when he went away TDY, we were a young couple. We didn't have any children, and I thought, wow, at least if I had a child, that would keep me occupied, keep my mind going. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'm sure that either way, it's a hard situation to have to go through. Difficult situation.
Right. But even with your mind going, one thing that I actually had to learn is that there's different triggers when it comes to grief. That's actually one of the other pages in here. I actually talked about my triggers right here, but right here is actually triggers for you to write, the person, has the book to write their triggers.
Mhm.
And a trigger doesn't necessarily have to be a big thing. I mean, one of my triggers was going into Walmart and buying some Tropicana Walmart juice.
Mhm.
That was one of the juices that he loved. And I ended up going to Walmart right after he passed. And I ended up walking by the juice aisle and I saw the juice. And let me tell you,
Mhm.
you would have thought I was on a Lifetime movie. And thank God my sister was with me, my twin sister, and she was just like, nothing's going on. Just let her deal with it. Nothing's going on.
Right.
But what I loved about it is she didn't try to get me out of the trigger. She allowed me to go through it. And I think a lot of times dealing with grief, have it be the loss of a spouse or just losing someone else, have it be a mom, a child, or something like that.
I
A
love
lot
it.
of times we don't deal with the triggers, and a lot of times we want to underplay it. And no, like you have to deal with those emotions to heal. And
Yes.
that's one of the things that I really want people to do in this book. It's like you have a coloring page, but next to it you have an activity page.
Mhm. That is so neat.
Like
I love the intricacy of the. It's not like big. It's like little tiny things. You have to detailed. Some of the pictures that I saw in there, you have to like take your time and fill. I guess fill in the lines
yep,
if you want to, or don't fill in the lines if you don't want to. I mean that. What a wonderful,
however you want to do it.
wonderful concept. Wonderful
But
concept.
studies have showed that coloring is very relaxing and it helps to like relieve stress. And that's why I ended up putting a lot of coloring pages in there, but you also have to do the work.
Mhm.
You know, one of the things in here is if you could say one last thing to your husband, what would you say to him? So that right there tells you you have to dig deep and you have to feel it.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it has to be raw.
Mhm.
You know, in there it says there's a page in the book that says, "Where are they now?"
Mhm.
And it's amazing. Like, and it can be any funeral that you go to. People are like, "Oh, if you need anything, let me know. If you need anything, let me know." But where are those people now?
Right.
Because at that point of grieving, you don't know what you need.
Mhm. Mhm. And let me ask you for the book. I mean, I know that you lost your king, but would it? Could the book also work if it was a man who lost his wife too? I mean, I know the way that
Yes.
you, the way that the picture is situated, but if somebody was also, if they're grieving, it could help anybody, right? Either way.
Yes, it could help anyone because they could just turn the page. Instead of writing a letter to your spouse, you could write a letter to your mom, your child, your wife, you
Mhm.
know, just change the word and you still have to do the work. So
Mhm. And I think I remember you saying something about you met the publisher, like the person who helped you to illustrate or publish. You had met them some years before, and you just kind of had the information and bumped back into them again, and it worked out where they were able to help you to get the book published. Right? It was like a kind of uh,
it was amazing because I will say this, when God gives you a vision, he will put the people in place for you. You just have to be obedient enough to listen and reach out to these people, whoever he puts in your path, because the person that you're speaking of, her name is Renee Hopkins,
okay.
and she was amazing. We used to work for the same company. She ended up leaving the company, and she has her own catering business, but she also has two books that she published. And I ended up seeing one of her books on Instagram, and I was like, oh, okay. So God was like, reach out to her. So I DM'd her and was like, hey, lady, I was like, you know, how are you? I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z to write this book. And she was so on board. Like the thing that I love about her is like I would go to her house and we literally would talk for hours, but she never tried to change my vision. She was just like, if this is what you want, okay, cool. And she's an amazing writer. So she helped me write a lot of the pages. Like I would tell her my thoughts and she would actually write it and be like, is this what you're looking for? And I'm like, yes. So it was amazing. And I mean, we literally got the book published within 3 months.
Wow, that is amazing. Really, that's what I was going to ask you. So from start to finish, that's awesome. 3 months.
We
Jeez.
started September 22nd. We were done by Christmas.
Of this past 2021, 2020.
Yes,
Awesome.
2021.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. So I'm glad that you came across my page or the podcast, whatever it was, and you reached out, and here we are. And um, I mean, I'm not in a situation where I've lost anybody, thank God. But I would love it eventually if I could have you send me one of those books so I could just show it around too. You know what I mean? Just
Of course, I can do that.
oh, after this, I'll send you my address so you can send me one.
Okay.
What a wonderful concept, and I'm so happy that, and you look beautiful. So I mean, you know,
Thank you.
you're moving along, and you seem like you're healing gracefully. That's what I wanted to say, healing gracefully. I know it's a
It's
process,
funny
but
that you say that, but that's one of the pages in here, and I always say, one of the things that I always say is walk in grace.
mhm,
And I feel like we need to walk in grace. And
mhm,
it's okay not to be okay. Like you don't have to be this strong warrior all the time.
mhm.
And this page right here, it says, I need to give myself grace.
That is
It's
so
like
beautiful.
stop playing the same song over and over again in your head. And then you have this one right here where you can just sit and color.
That is so beautiful, and the picture looks like she could be any one of my three daughters.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
I
it.
wanted to represent, the Black community, to represent us, and all the artwork in here is literally, um, it's us.
Yes, I love it. I love the book. Even there's such beautiful illustrations in there. Um, I just love it. So,
Thank you.
so what I wanted to ask you. So, how can anybody who wants to get a book? How can they find you? Like, I'll get the information from you so I can put it in notes. But if you can just tell us with your own voice, like, your website and
Yep.
your
I
Instagram
created
page, Facebook.
I created my own website. I actually had someone create it for me. The website itself is www dot royalty. Actually, I'll give it to you because I don't know it. I'm
Sure.
trying to remember it off of my head,
I have it. Let me see.
but
Let me see. You is royalty dash sw period.com.
.com.
Right.
Yes,
So you have is it your own LLC? Did you start your own business? Or you
it
just,
is my own business.
uh-huh.
Yep.
And that's under the name of
So
royalty. What's
under
that?
Sandra Wolf,
Okay. Okay. All right.
my
Nice.
initials, Sandra Wolf.
And so I'm seeing that the book, the cost of your book is 19.99. Is that correct? And that's probably
Yeah.
before tax. 'Cause I'm sure people need to have to send
Well,
it out.
there's actually no tax on the book. It's $19.99. It's $6 for shipping. Right now, there's actually a calendar bundle with the book,
All right.
and I actually made this calendar earlier this year, so there's only 30 of them left. It's a
What?
royalty
Oh,
calendar.
okay. You know
Yes.
what? I like the book, but I'm gonna need me a calendar because we're gonna have to do another interview,
So
maybe in about
this
six
is
months
some
or
of the
so.
pages
Oh,
in
how
the
beautiful!
calendar.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We're gonna have to. We need one of those. We need one of those for
Yeah.
sure. Beautiful.
And again, it's all a representation of us.
Nice.
So there's a bundle on the website, and or you can buy the calendar itself.
Mhm.
The calendar is $24.99. The bundle is $44.98, and the book by itself is $19.99.
All
I
right.
ship directly from home, so I will definitely, as soon as I get the orders on the website, I can definitely ship and have it in the mailbox the next day.
All right. So now I want a bundle. So I guess I'll have to. Oh, do you have what's it? The Cash app? Do you have a Cash? Um.
I do have Cash App, but when they're ordering through the website, they need to order through PayPal.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and then it
You have it all
will,
set up. Look at you. You're all set up. Did the same person who did your calendar? Did she also do your book? The book? Do the calendar also? Was
no,
that was separate? Something separate.
it's totally separate. Yeah.
Look at
Well,
you.
I did the calendar myself. I put it together. I ended up finding the author, the illustrator is actually from Russia. So I worked with her. Yes, because if anybody's looking for like illustrators, they could actually go to this website that I used. It's FIBERR. There's different illustrators on there throughout the country. Some of my illustrations that were done in the book was from Pakistan.
Okay.
So you actually tell them exactly what you're looking for. They will definitely put it together for you, let you know the time frame, how much it costs,
Mhm.
and you can go from there. So when I actually started my book, I actually put a credit card on site, and that's how I ended up finding different people that I liked. And I know that this is the first series. I do plan on writing or doing another book later on with some other, journeys that I've gone through. But I would definitely use some of the same illustrators that I've used out of this book.
Definitely, you have my wheels turning. I love that calendar also. So yeah, we have.
Thank you.
And so when your next book comes out, make sure you contacted me so we can do this a whole nother interview and
Oh, you know I will.
put it out there for you. So we have your website, www.royalty-sw.com. The price of the book is $19.99. She has the calendar also, and then your Instagram page. What is your Instagram page?
My Instagram page, I actually have two, but
Okay.
the one that I will actually give you guys is Royal ROYAL underscore brand BRAND underscore Sandra .333. And if anybody knows what 333 means, 333 is an angel number.
Okay, awesome. So we'll get all that information and we'll have it in the notes below. And I thank you so much for this time and for sharing your story with us. And thank God that you have a. So I wanted to ask another question before. So did you ever find that support group? And if you didn't find one, did you start one?
I actually did find a support group. It's an amazing support group. They're actually on Instagram. It's called Young Black. Hold on. I actually have them right here. There's actually it's called Young Black Widows on Instagram. It's an amazing group. But they also have it where they have conversations between widows, and that's another page on Instagram, and it's for Black women or men. And when I tell you, I've actually reached out to a lot of the members. We actually have meetings on Tuesdays and I want to say Thursdays. We have an Instagram page. There's a messaging platform where you can message whatever you want to have, and nothing's taboo. And it's great. The what's the word I'm looking for? The community itself is amazing.
That's awesome.
Very supportive.
So if anybody was in need, you could call somebody up or have somebody pray with you. I'm sure that's nice. Very nice. Awesome. Awesome. So I think that kind of wraps up everything. Is there any last words that you'd like to send us off with before we close out?
I would love to. I just want to let people know that you can definitely heal through tragedy. Again, know that this is your own journey, your own platform. Don't let someone try to push you through it, especially if they're not in your shoes. You know what you're dealing with and you know how you need to deal with it. Just know that try not to let the state of depression take over. Do what makes you feel good and what is healthy for you. So, and you will definitely come out on the other side.
Very encouraging words. And I just thank you so much again for being with us tonight, for today. And I'll let you know once all these things are posted up and hope to have you again.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, then.
Good night.
Okay. All right.